Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Refreshments are in the back. Please take your seats. We'll be starting about 5 minutes. Thank you. That's good. Mr. Appleby, how are we doing at the door? Yeah. We'll give it a couple minutes. Hey, Dylan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're about to get the party started. If you can find a seat and stay left, it's a great turnout. We appreciate your time this afternoon. Just letting everyone know, refreshments are in the back. Washrooms are just around the corner here as well. So, awesome. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Ward, and I'll be today's moderator for this afternoon's All Candidate Forum. So thank you so much to the candidates for joining us. Firstly, some housekeeping rules. I'd just like everyone to take out their cell phone, please put it on silent or vibrate or turn it off. Let's disconnect for a little bit and let's go back to the old days. You know, young time. Awesome. So we're also be holding clapping till the end of the afternoon, just for time's sake, and just want things to roll on in a timely manner. So the Berkeley's Corner Collective is a group of concerned citizens in the area, so they're not an official association. So if it's within your means to donate some money just to cover the cost of this room today, there's a jar at the entrance. Mr. John English is kind of holding that jar there. We appreciate your generosity. I have a jar. Awesome. Make sure you clean that. That's a candy permission. Awesome. So here's how this afternoon is going to unfold. Each candidate will begin by introducing themselves, with up to 3 minutes each to share their background and their platform. Following that, the candidates will participate in a mix of yes and no questions, holding these panels yes or no, and a mock council-style vote on several key issues that have been shaped recent council decisions or may arise in the near future. Towards the end, each candidate will have an opportunity to speak for about 2 to 3 minutes to clarify or expand on any of these responses, particularly those related to the yes or no question or the mock vote outcomes. So without any further ado, let's get going with the introductions. They have been randomly given to me. We'll start off with Ms. Joanne Kemler.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the organizers. I appreciate taking the time and the energy and the effort to make this work. And thank you to all of those of you who come to listen. And I have to say from here, there sure is a lot of you. I appreciate you being here because I know your time is valuable. I acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people who are privileged today to gather. I stand before you today as a dedicated member of our community, committed to tackling the challenges we face. My name is Joanne Kellner, and I've had the privilege of calling the Cowichan Valley home for over 50 years. My husband and I raised our children here, and I will work towards North Cowichan being a community that listens, supports, and grows together. I bring a strong track record of experience in action as a school trustee, union representative, and currently the coordinator for the Cowichan Valley Community Action Team. I know how local government works. I'm ready to jump into the table's tasks at hand because I have significant insight and experience in navigating political tables, and I understand the rules of government. I am always ready to jump in, roll up my sleeves, and get to work. I believe in practical approaches, and I believe in doing what's right, even when it's wrong. Now, when it comes to what's at the heart of my platform, I want to share with you 2 of the issues that I have heard matter most. That said, there are many more, such as a challenging infrastructure deficit and, of course, rising taxes. Right now, too many families. It's actually estimated about 3,000 in our community are one paycheck away from homelessness. Whether it's seniors, families, workers, or our most vulnerable residents, we need to make housing a priority. We must work with government nonprofits and developers to create more affordable and supportive housing options. When people have stable housing, they're able to address other challenges like mental health, addiction, and employment. This isn't just an economic issue. It affects health, stability, and opportunity. We've all seen the growing social disorder in our neighborhoods. Working together with law enforcement and by law is important, but it isn't enough. We need to approach these crises with both compassion and strength and get to the heart of the matter at hand. Collaboration is key with healthcare providers, law enforcement, RCMP, and our community nonprofits that live and breathe this crisis every day. North Cowichan has a safer communities plan that works that I support. I'm ready to lead with action, not just words. I'm looking forward to hearing your concerns and working with you together to build a stronger, safer, and inclusive North Cowichan. This is our home, and I'm committed to fighting for a future where we can all thrive. I look forward to answering your questions and learning what issues are important to you. Your input is crucial as we work together to build a strong community. Let's continue this conversation and work together towards the positive change that we can do for North Cowichan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kemler. The next on our list is Mr. David Bellish. And sorry, before we get going, there's one thing I did miss. I just want to let everyone know that we have several live streams going on tonight. So I do believe this will be on YouTube, just in case anyone wants to review the footage, note taking, or anything like that. I just wanted to put that one up. Good afternoon, residents. Thank you very much for coming out today. As Joanne said, you all have busy lives, and it's encouraging to see this kind of turnout for a by-election. 5 candidates. It's quite amazing. Thank you for the organizers, and again to you for coming here with your questions today. My name is David Bellis, and I have been a Valley resident for over 60 years now in this area. The last 25 in North Cowichan. My father moved us here in 1963 after retiring 24 years with the Royal Canadian Air Force. And if you have visited my website, you know that I have spent most of my working career as a teacher, administrator for School District 79. My father, mother, and sister were also teachers, so I guess it's in the blood. But on the way to my Bachelor's of Education from UVic, I also worked many blue-collar jobs, including toting lumber in Honeymoon Bay and riding on the back of a garbage truck, dumping cans for the city of Duncan. Several summers I did that. My teaching career was varied. I taught at Sherman, Duncan Elementary, Cowichan Junior High School, and Francis Kelsey Secondary. During my time at Kelsey, I returned to school at Royal Roads to complete my master's in leadership. The last 10 years of my career were spent as the administrator of the Adult Learning Center. It was a school where those who didn't make it to graduation the first time could have a second chance. In my time there, approximately 600 students achieved their adult learning. The oldest graduate was 85 years old. It might very well be a record for the province, I'm not sure. I enjoyed all the years and age levels, but those last 10 years were probably the most rewarding and satisfying of my career. I have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours coaching at every level and just about every single sport. I was on the board of Literacy Now Cowichan for 10 years, 2 as vice chair. In addition, I was on the original committee which organized the coldest night of the year fundraising walk to raise money for at-risk youth. This year we purchased a house for that purpose. I care very deeply about this valley. My wife and I raised our family here, and we are concerned as you are with the daunting problems facing North Cowichan. We will address the most pressing problems this afternoon. I'm running as an independent, middle-of-the-road candidate who has the time, good health, and commitment to change the status quo. I will not be aligned with a certain party or board faction, but will be free to vote on issues on their merits, not because I feel obligated to vote in a certain way. I have no financial agent or campaign manager or anybody helping me write text. You will not see any signage, color brochures, newspaper, or radio ads because I believe in fiscal responsibility, and that is what I would bring to the job. By the way, you will not see me on social media either. It may have its uses, but as I said in the last meeting, I will be damned if I will support Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg.
Mr. Ellis, that's 3 days away.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. And now we're going to move on to Mr. Raymond Farmier. That's what pronounce it right. Did I get it?
Hi, thank you everybody. I'm glad to be here and I'm honored to be here, and I thank the both salespeople for letting us be here on their land today. So for the past few years, 2 years, I've worked as a campus director. I have 10 years of experience in teaching as a college instructor. I worked as a network administrator and a computer technician as well prior to that. I worked at Vancouver Island University for 7 years, and while I was there, I was also part of the KP 1858 executive, which was responsible for passing bylaws and motions related to the union to make the workplace a better place. That role is very similar to the role of a councillor in many ways. I have a Master's of Education degree, a Bachelor's of Arts in English and Media Studies, an Associate's degree in Academic Arts and Social Sciences. I have a Diploma in Information Technology and Applied Systems, and I have also taught business administration. I've taught ESL courses, and I've also taught political courses as well. And in addition, I've taught digital marketing. So in my time at Vancouver Island University, I learned a lot. I recently moved to the Cowichan Valley about 7 months ago to the regional district. Me and my wife purchased a house here. Unfortunately, she has brain cancer, but she's been supporting me through this entire process and helping me through the questions. I do a lot of business in town, and I know a lot of people in the regional district as well. For things that I would like to do, I want to help with the implementation of the official community plan, and I also want to help increase communication between the public and council. And another thing I'd like to look at in the area is to help come up with drug rehabilitation programs. It was found out that we have more than 200 homeless people in the area of North Cowichan. So I'd like to come up with what I call an outdoor outreach program, where we have volunteers going around and helping to identify the needs of why drug use is so prominent, and look at what we can do to stop it from happening. And because drug use doesn't happen just because people want to do drugs, a lot of it is happening because people are in pain at the same time. So if we have outreach workers who are going around outdoors in the community, what they can do too is they can pass out Noxaline kits to help prevent overdoses as well at the same time and make a difference in the community. In addition to that, I would also like to help look at how different housing options to help house the homeless people at the same time. In Victoria,
That's 3 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Moving on to Miss Joanna Lord.
Good afternoon. My name is Joanna Lord. I acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded and traditional territories of the Coast Salish and Wet'suwet'en people. I am a longtime resident with deep roots in North Cowichan. Thank you all for participating in democracy today. I'm pleased for this opportunity to speak here at Berkey's Corner. I have knocked on doors in neighborhoods in the area, from Heron's Way to Limerick Road, Granita Ridge, and Stone Ridge, to name a few. People tell me they want to protect our rural character and quality of life. They don't want sprawl and the crowded streets, noise, and cluttered landscape that sprawl brings. They want to get the homeless and the addicted off the streets and solve the opioid crisis. They want a healthy economy with skilled jobs for all, and they want to avoid higher taxes. I have looked into these issues, and I believe I have solutions. Sprawl does not reduce taxes. It increases them because it requires expensive extension of infrastructure far from urban centers. Infilling provides diverse housing while minimizing the cost of extending services. Attracting new industries and businesses does reduce property taxes, shifting the tax burden from homeowners to industry and business. It brings new jobs and keeps our economy strong and provides tax revenue. Last but not least, avoiding sprawl protects our farmlands, rivers, and lakes, and preserves our rural character with high quality of life. Our official community plan already provides that direction. I cherish the cultural diversity, natural beauty, and extraordinary quality of life here in North Cowichan. I am running for council because we need strong and wise leadership to guide our future. This is a short term until the next cycle of municipal elections in October 2026. with little time to learn how local government works and how its jurisdiction fits in with senior levels of government, let alone building necessary relationships which will enable effective advocacy for residents of North Cowichan. I'm stepping up because my background, skills, and experience will help me hit the ground running. I have spent the last 20 years as an instructor at Cowichan campus of VIU, instructing in the adult upgrading program and student success advising. In my work, I advocated for students and co-workers as a shop steward for my union. My journey in the BC General Employees Union has given me years of valuable leadership development and training and experience navigating and negotiating, providing transferable skills that will serve me well in the role of counselor. I look forward to our time together today and hearing about the important municipal issues that are very important to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. Now we'll finish off with our last candidate, Ms. Becky Hall.
Woo-hoo!
Hello, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Becky Hall. I was born and raised here in the Cowichan Valley. My husband's name is Mike, and we raised our 3 girl sons here. Being a business owner for 18 years has taught me strong work ethic, resilience, leadership, creativity, problem solving, adaptability, and fiscal responsibility. As a hairstylist and working behind the chair, you gain empathy, patience, creativity, communication, and time management. Having also sat on boards, one of them being the Berkey Foundation, that I am so incredibly proud of for raising over $600,000 for hospice, Cowichan Valley Youth Services, and helping as baby as possible. In my free time, I absolutely love being on the water, and 4 years ago I found my passion in dragon boating. I have a vision. And this vision is for families to be able to raise their families in an affordable, safe community that I was very lucky to be raised in and also raise my sons in. There have been far too many incidents on our streets and in our neighborhoods. This disorder is putting strain on our local businesses and it's unacceptable and needs to be addressed. We need to look at creating opportunities and affordable housing, looking at expanding permits and rezoning area needed to encourage light industry. We live in a beautiful valley with so much to offer, but we don't encourage tourism. We are missing out on big business. Let's get thriving again, North Cowichan, and vote for change. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for the introduction. So, with everyone introduced now, we're going to move forward into our first topic of this afternoon. And the first topic is regarding public safety and social health. So within Berkeley's corner, crime and addiction, I should say within North Cowichan in general, crime and addiction continue to be a major concern for residents. So what are top priorities in addressing these issues? And how would you use your position on council to advocate for meaningful change, whether through policy, partnership, or public pressure? So each candidate now will have 2 minutes to respond. We'll go in the same order, starting with Ms. Kemmler again. And then everyone will have 2 minutes. We'll then go into the yes or no questions for this topic.
The global drug crisis continues to claim over 600,000 lives each year. With a staggering 80% of those deaths linked to opioids. Closer to home, Island Health reported 610 fatalities in 2024. That's a lot of people. That is accounting for 27% of all drug-related deaths in BC. While this represents a 13% decrease from 2023, the crisis is far from over. The decline in deaths suggests that harm reduction strategies and public health interventions may be making an impact. We must continue to work together, government, healthcare providers, and community organizers to ensure that effective support reaches those who need it the most. As a councillor, I would prioritize addressing the safety concerns in North Cowichan, including open drug use and criminal activities. This is not just a safety issue, it's a quality of life issue for everyone who lives and works in our community. While law enforcement plays a key role, it is clear that more holistic, comprehensive approaches are needed. I would advocate for a coordination by law enforcement and our safety presence, while also pushing for better support services for those struggling with addiction and homelessness. The key to addressing these issues is collaboration and housing. I would work closely with those who live and breathe this complex problem to ensure that our resources are properly aligned to meet the needs of the most vulnerable in our community. We need to provide safe, stable housing for people, because when people are housed, they are off the streets, less likely to engage in open drug use, better positioned to rebuild their lives. Housing provides the foundation for wellness and healing, leading to less theft, less disorder, and safer neighborhoods. I would work closely with the Safer Communities Plan and leverage the expertise of local community organizations to address the root causes. This approach is rooted in collaboration and compassion, and it's the kind of leadership that I will bring to council, focused on meaningful change and fostering a safer, more supportive environment for everybody who lives here.
Mr. Bellis?
I'm sure these issues are at the top of almost everybody's agenda. Social disorder. I have a That's good, thank you.
Yeah, oh, we're sorry. 1 minute left.
So I have a little part-time job right now. I work for Save On Foods, it just helps me keep busy. I need to feel useful in my retirement, but in that area of town, across the street from the Ramada Inn, I get to brush shoulders with a lot of these homeless folks, unhoused. They seem to prefer the Save On parking lot. So I've got to know a few of them, and we talk. Sometimes I buy them coffee. They have mental health problems. They have obviously addiction problems. Sometimes they have both. And some are just down on their luck. They have none of those problems, but they have no more money. And some are dying. And poverty, as they say, is the mother of crime. I'm going to share this story because it's not just an urban myth. It happens on a regular basis. There was a young man next to my van at the start of my shift a few weeks ago. Slumped over, unconscious on the pavement. 911 was called. They revived him, thankfully. And I went off on my deliveries, and he went his way. At the end of my shift, there's the same young man. And the same thing happens. He ends up unconscious on the sidewalk, and 911 is called again. Multiple call-outs are not unusual. Is this young man capable of making any clear decisions about his future? I don't think so. I think he's long past it. And if he's just returned to exactly the same circumstances that put him there in the first place, nothing's going to change. People continue marching down that inevitable road to his death when there's nobody there to call 911. We need a permanent shelter now to help get these folks off the street, open 24/7.
Thank you very much. Hold applause, please, at the end. Thank you very much. We'll move now on to Mr. Farmier.
Thank you for the question. Drug use is a very complicated issue, and especially when, and it has three phases to it. Phase one is the start. Phase two, people start becoming less connected with the people around them, and they start hanging out with people in the drug circle, basically. And then by the time they hit phase three, the only thing that they care about is getting that drug, basically. So what I would like to do, as I was saying, is I'd like to look at creating a volunteer mobile outreach program to have outreach workers on hand who can walk around the streets and hand out Noxaline kits and find out what people's challenges are and what has led them to drug use, and to see what we can do to help them. Because the other part to the mobile outreach program is I would like the mobile outreach workers to offer solutions and tools. Now, we can't change their mind about drug use, but at least we can offer them the tools to make themselves better. But it's up to them as to whether they use it. But at the same time, we need to connect with them and find out why it's happening. Once you find out why it's happening, then we're in a better position to offer them the tools to help them. If elected, I would personally like to share this program and find volunteers who would like to assist with this. And I would also like to look at getting funding from the provincial government and make also connections with Harm Reduction Canada to get the Noxaline kits and the resources to help these people. I have quite a bit of experience in addictions research and teaching addiction support programs at a few colleges for the last few years. Addictions does not always just happen for the thrill of drug use. It happens because people are in pain in a lot of scenarios, and there's not enough doctors in British Columbia. Thank you.
Now move on to Ms. Lord.
So we all understand that a local municipality like ours has limited power and resources to tackle these issues. Instead, the provincial and federal levels of government, including the justice system, can make sweeping changes. And in great part, crime stems from poverty. I've read that those who experience that condition are 20 times more likely to commit crime than those from the same age from higher earning families. Substance abuse, mental health challenges, as well as low literacy and education are other key factors in this complex issue. My top priorities to attack these twin issues would be enhance local RCMP and bylaw enforcement officers' efforts, bring back police auxiliaries so that there's more eyes on the street, bring in CAR 60 program, which is a program that pairs RCMP with psychiatric nurses who can reach out to folks on the street and connect them with the resources that they need to help support them. Build more affordable housing and supportive housing. We need both of those in the valley. Build enhanced skills and literacy training for those in need. And support the Safer Community Plan. Also, there's the old hospital. What do we do with that? I would lobby senior levels of government to build an addiction and treatment center. I know there's already a petition with well over 8,000 signatures on it for that type of facility to help people overcome their addictions. If we had more affordable housing and supportive housing, it would relieve a large economic strain on people, enhance their quality of life, and decrease the likelihood that they would become homeless or resort to crime. Thank you.
Also, we'll finish up with Ms. Hall next.
So I don't want to sound repetitive, and I'm sorry if you have been to meetings, but I am a small business owner. My salon is on Garden Street next to the food bank. So I deal with this on a daily basis. It's a very, very sad situation. At the level we are, as a municipality, it's hard to make big decisions, but you can advocate. You can go to government and ask for the help. We need treatment centers. We need housing. We need dry housing. It's a very complicated. These people on the streets have not only addiction, but most of them have mental health. And they are left there without any support. We need support for them. And I would push and push and push until we find something, an answer. Changing bylaws, more RCMP, more eyes, creating nonprofit groups, anything we can do just to find a solution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to all the candidates for your 2 minutes to this topic. We're now going to move into the yes or no questions regarding public safety and social health. So with the paddles, either yes or no, it can be just a simple yes or no vote. First question, do you support the placement of supportive housing developments in residential neighborhoods, such as the facility on Paddle Road, which operates under a no judgment policy that allows continued drug use on site? Yes or no? Raise them high, please, so everyone can see them.
We can't see back there.
Person holding the sign, just stand up. Stand up.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, if you don't mind, just quickly stand up and show the answer. Thank you. That's good recommendation.
Ms. Lord, I don't think you're holding up the sign.
No, I'm not. It's too complicated of a question to answer with yes or no.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Please, thank you. We're moving on to the next question now. Do you believe the housing first approaches are effective without requiring addiction treatment or rehabilitation as a condition or support? And before you give your answer, just to all the candidates again, if you choose not to give an answer, you can explain at the end when we have time. But right now, it's just a yes or no, please. So once again, the question, do you believe housing first approaches are effective without requiring addiction treatment or rehabilitation as a condition of support? Please stand up, yes or no. Okay, thank you for your answer. Moving on to question number 3. North Cowichan's overdose prevention site, OPS, was implemented despite opposition from council, the school board, and over 300 residents. Do you believe community opposition should carry more weight in such decisions? Stand up and yes or no, please. Thank you for your answers. 2 questions remain. Question number 4. Do you believe BC's decriminalization pilot has been successful so far? Yes or no? Okay, thank you for your answers. Last question on this topic. Would you support using your position on council to advocate either publicly or through intergovernmental channels for the reinstatement of criminal penalties for possession of hard drugs in British Columbia? Yes or no? Thank you for your answers. Okay, that concludes the first topic. Moving on to the second topic, the CAPE, Climate Action and Energy Plan. The municipality currently applies a 0.5% annual tax towards its Climate Action and Energy Plan, also known as CAPE. While some see this as a necessary step towards meeting long-term environmental goals, others have questioned the timing and scale of the tax, especially during periods of economic strain. In one well-attended council meeting, as council prepared to vote on a policy restricting natural gas as a primary heat source in new construction, Mayor Douglas told the crowd that if they disagreed with the climate direction, they should vote differently next time. Since all municipal policies are now assessed through a climate lens, the Cape is not just a standalone plan. It influences nearly every major decision in North Cowichan. So the question is, and you'll all have 2 minutes again to answer, would each candidate please share whether they support the Cape, explain why or why not, and where it falls in their list of policy priorities. We'll start again with the same list this time. Thank you.
I have to say, sometimes it's not always good to be first. I do support our climate action and energy plan. Climate change is a big challenge in the world today, and we face it everywhere, we face it here. It's important for North Cowichan to play an active role in tackling it. The Cape is a comprehensive plan that outlines how we can reduce emissions, promote sustainability, and shift towards cleaner energy sources. The plan is essential to ensuring that our community remains healthy and resilient for many years to come. Implementing the Climate Action and Energy Plan, Cape, requires a realistic and considerate approach that accounts for the needs of all community members. It is essential to be mindful of how these changes impact local businesses and residents, ensuring that the transition to a greener future is inclusive and does not impose undue financial strain. If we keep Cape at the heart of our decisions, we'll always be moving forward in a sustainable balance for Cowichan. It's a reliable way to make sure that we are looking out for both today and tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Kemmler. Now we'll move on to Mr. Bayless. Bayless, sorry. Thank you.
In general, I do support the plan. I think each individual, municipality, province, and country must do their part, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Without a plan, without a goal, nothing happens. So yes, I do support the plan, but at the moment, it is probably maybe number 4 on my list of priorities. And my top priority would be residential taxes, followed by social disorder and affordable housing. So I'm going to take this time to talk about taxes because it's not anywhere on the agenda. The relentless increase in taxes must be reined in 8% for 5 years. The magic of compound interest becomes $4,440 in 5 years. I don't know about you folks, but my income does not increase 8% per year. I'm on fixed income, and I think probably lots of you are as well. We need to find efficiencies, new revenue streams. We need to network with other municipalities and other areas around the world to look for creative solutions. We need to invite heavy and light industry to the valley. In 2009, this is as far back as I can get figures for, residential taxes, 48%. Heavy and light industries, 42%. Fast forward to 2024, residential taxes, 68%. Heavy and light industry, about 18%. It's not sustainable. There are other areas of the world that have put a cap on residential taxes. California is one of them. A statewide cap, I believe it's about 3%. You can check that when you get home. Maybe we need to have a cap, and then we will be forced to look for other efficiencies and other revenue streams and get us out of this mess. It's not just a looming crisis.
So that's
It's here. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Now we'll move on to Mr. Farmier.
Thank you for the question. So, for my list, the climate action energy plan is important. It would rank third on my list of top priorities, and yes, I support it. And it's 7 key areas, which include compact, complete communities, efficient buildings, low carbon transportation, local renewable energy generation, renewable energy procurement, efficient water and waste and low carbon industry, agriculture, and forestry. Now, one of the most important things during the implementation is that the implementation of these things doesn't affect regular community operations on a daily basis, because community operations, keeping the community running first, is most important. So I see the implementation as a gradual implementation. So we'll start implementing these things where we can, because the OCP takes precedence over everything, but as well at the same time as the OCP, just the general functioning of the community is important. So we can start with, for example, in the municipal buildings, I'd like to see putting solar power into the municipal buildings. That would be a gradual start to that, for example. But it would be gradual on these things as we work towards them. And the goal of the OCP is to have these things in place before the 2050s. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir. We'll now move on to Ms. Lord.
Yes, I support the Climate Action and Energy Plan for several compelling reasons, and I rank it as essential to building resiliency and protecting our quality of life and the planet's survival. First, the climate plan is required by law. The Local Government Act mandates that municipalities set out GHG emission targets in their official community plans, along with supporting policies and action. As required, North Cowichan adopted its climate plan in 2013 and updated it in 2022. Second, the climate plan is based on sound science. All mainstream scientists agree that climate change is real and caused by the burning of fossil fuels and resulting emission of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane. They point to hundreds of studies that confirm that climate change is growing and, unless curtailed, will cause the planet to become uninhabitable due to soaring temperatures, severe droughts, intense and widespread wildfires, extreme weather events such as hurricanes and tornadoes, and natural disasters such as flooding. Third, the climate plan shows us a path forward to fight climate change and build resiliency. It will reduce GHG emissions by avoiding energy waste and promote energy efficient buildings, focus growth near existing urban centers, transition to renewable energy, protect ecosystems that provide shade and sequester carbon, and restore and manage natural systems such as old growth forests, lakes, rivers, and estuaries to protect us from fires, flooding, and sea level rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. We'll finish off with Ms. College.
The Climate Action Energy Plan, I'm not against it, but like Mr. Bell said, right now, we have tax problems. We're talking to residents what the problems are and where they struggle is with property taxes. That right now, I don't know if it's absolutely necessary at this time. As Mr. Bell said, with the property taxes, we need to find solutions. If you can find solutions there, and we can get to a point where we're comfortable, maybe being able to cap off the taxes, then at that point, we can look at the Climate Action Energy Plan. But right now, I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, thank you to the candidates. As a kind of reminder to the audience, let's try and keep reactions to the minimum. Clapping and reactions, stay respectful even if we agree to disagree. Again, that's what makes Canada the best country in the world. So we're allowed to have our own individual opinions. Okay, moving into the yes and no questions. So starting off with the first question regarding the Cape. Do you support the municipality's decision to suspend logging in the municipal forest reserve and pursue carbon credits instead despite the shift in maintenance costs from self-funded logging to tax funding? Yes or no? Please stand up, yes or no? Okay, thank you for your answers. Moving to the second question. Do you support the use of municipal climate reserve funds to purchase electric fleet vehicles and an electric garbage truck? Yes or no, please stand up. Okay, thank you so much. Do you support using climate reserve funding to support the projects of local non-profit organizations or NGOs? Yes or no, please stand up. Thank you kindly. Moving on to our last question for this topic. Do you support the active transportation plan in its entirety? Yes or no, please stand up. Ms. Hogg, can you yes or no? It's a yes or no. Okay, thank you all, I appreciate that. That concludes our second topic.
Excuse me. It seems you skipped one of the questions. The Sherman Road bike lane project.
Sorry, I have my own notes. I don't know what notes you're talking about.
It is on the program.
Sorry, I'm just gonna follow the notes I have, but what we'll do, maybe we'll circle around back at the end and we'll ask it, but sorry, I don't see that one here.
Yeah, it might be in the mock debate section.
Okay, thank you kindly. So moving on to infrastructure. I don't see it yet. I just want to double check that. What was the question?
The question in full on the list
I see
is,
that.
would you have voted in favor of the Sherman Road bike lane project?
Oh, well, we got the time. Let's do it. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Appreciate it. Because I don't have that here.
Down on the agenda.
Yeah,
It's redundant.
It's redundant,
It's already been voted down.
Yeah. Down, it says, down further on.
Under topic 3. It's under topic 3.
Okay, we're not there yet. We're not there. Yeah, stand by. Okay, moving on to infrastructure. Okay, Berkey's Corner has become one of the fastest growing areas in North Cowichan. Yet many residents are voicing concern about the lack of long-term planning, design oversight, and transportation infrastructure to match the pace of development. Unlike Chemainus and Crofton, both of which benefit from established local area plans and active neighborhood associations, Berkey's has no formal structure to guide its growth or advocate for residents. As a result, traffic is increasingly routed through narrow residential corridors, including 2 school zones on Somnos and Lane Road, which now serve as major connectors between Cowichan Commons and Duncan. Locals report traffic volumes to these school zones have increased fourfold in recent years. So moving to the question, given this context, what is your vision for infrastructure, both residential and commercial, across North Cowichan? Would you support the creation of a local area plan for Berkey's Corner to help manage growth, traffic, and community needs more strategically? We'll have 2 minutes with the same order again, starting with Ms. Sherman.
One of the biggest challenges facing North Cowichan is something we don't always see right away, but we'll definitely feel it if we don't act now, and that is a growing infrastructure deficit. As our community grows, our water systems, sewer networks, and roads are under more and more pressure. If we keep putting off improvements and developing willy-nilly, the cost of catching up will only grow, and it will land squarely on the shoulders of future taxpayers. That's why my vision for infrastructure in North Cowichan is rooted in planning smart, growing responsibly, and staying true to the values in our official community plan. I support residential and commercial growth, but it must come with the services and infrastructure to support it. New development should help pay for what they need, not pass the full bill on to existing residents. Public-private partnerships can play a big role here, helping us fund improvements without taking it all out of our taxpayers' pockets. I would absolutely support the creation of a local area plan for Berkey's Corner. Such a plan would help manage growth effectively, providing a clear framework for development while ensuring it aligns with the overall official community plan. Mitigating the risk of sprawl. By working within the OCP, we can grow responsibly, building the infrastructure we need for the future while preserving the values and quality of life that we cherish and expect in North Cowichan. The OCP gives us a solid roadmap. Now we need the leadership and teamwork to bring it to life. By investing wisely, planning ahead, and making sure North Cowichan grows in a way that's strong and sustainable for everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron. Move on to Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. I would advocate trying to stay with what our municipal planners advise, 4,500 units that can be accommodated with existing infrastructure. As was mentioned by Joanne, we also know that our infrastructure is aging and will need upgrading and replacement. Look to Calgary and what happened recently and the destructive flooding that occurred to see what happens when upgrading and replacement are neglected. It was a disaster. The 8% that is being used as a figure for the next 4, 5, 6, who knows how many years, would only just barely maintain our infrastructure, our sewer and water and everything else. And as I said, as taxpayers, we can't afford it. We just cannot afford that. So again, let's look to account, and then we'll be forced to find creative answers. I would add that you folks out there, I'm sure, with the incredible amount of experience and expertise that's out there, have your own solutions and your own ideas that we could bring forward for the town hall meeting. Not for gripes and complaints, but for creative ideas on how to get out of this mess. Power is there, it's with you. I would absolutely encourage, looking at what's happened with Sherman and Crofton and their local area plans, I would absolutely encourage Berkey's Corner to begin to look into that initiative. I would add that, as far as I know, I think both of those areas actually hired consultants. I'm not sure how that was paid for, but it's something that needs to be investigated. But definitely a local area plan for this huge, I live here too, just across the road there. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and it needs a plan. It needs a plan. It cannot just happen by itself.
Thank you. Moving forward to Mr. Farmier.
Thank you for the question. So yeah, Berkey's Corner does definitely need a local area plan. And in that plan, we need to look at how we can reroute traffic, because that is a lot of traffic coming in and going out of there. And being close to the schools, it is quite dangerous as well at the same time. For infrastructure, what I've been looking at doing and suggesting is that we reach out to the province to get more money to support infrastructure so that we can have the infrastructure in place to support development in the community. The other thing that the OCP shows is the idea of a 10-minute walk plan. So if we build apartment buildings in these areas and have the main floors open for local businesses such as convenience stores and pharmacies and essential services, then everything's going to be right there in front of us in these areas, and we can just walk to these locations, and that's also going to help lower our carbon footprint at the same time. So and with a 10-minute walk plan theory in place in an area like this is also going to help decongest some of the traffic too. But we need to look at a bigger plan also, so that maybe we could put in some new roads in some areas to help with traffic decongestion as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Ms. Lord, please.
Yes, I support the official community plan. It represents 3 years of hard work by hundreds of concerned citizens and expert staff. It provides for balanced, sustainable, and smart growth that pays its way and protects our rural quality of life. It directs growth to the existing urban centers in a cost-efficient manner that protects our farmlands and provides an environmental protection. That's what we need for Berkey's Corner. I am in full support of a local area plan that is developed with participation from all of you and neighbors in the community. It needs to be well thought out, orderly, and have development patterns based on the input from those who live in the area. It could also cover topics such as land use, housing, urban design, transportation, and parks and open spaces. All done in a smart and manageable way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. Now move on to Ms. Hogg, please.
I too live just down the road here, and it is a very, very busy area now. We do need a plan to come up with. The streets are very busy, and with the school being right there, the traffic is too much. So I am in support of that. We do need to stick to our 42 homes that we can do right now that our infrastructure will hold. We need to get creative and find ways to fund the money so we can upgrade our infrastructure and move forward. We need to look at economic growth for our valley. Until we get there, we do need to just stick to that. But there is a way we can make that money.
Thank you for the candidates for your responses. We'll now move on into the infrastructure yes or no questions. Okay. The first question. Do you believe council should consider aesthetics and design standards when approving new developments? Please stand up, yes or no. Thank you very much. Question number 2. Many new apartments are approved with a small portion designated affordable, designed as just 10% below market value. Do you consider that to be truly affordable? Yes or no, please stand up. Thank you very much. Would you advocate for requiring deeper affordability, such as a larger percentage below market rate for a portion of new housing units? Yes or no, please stand up. Thank you very much. Now let's see your question, sir. Awesome. Moving on to the question that we thought we missed. A recent motion to approve a dedicated bike lane on Sherman Road resulted in a 3-3 tie vote at council. Because of a vacancy on council, the time in the motion was automatically defeated. The project, part of North Cowichan's broader active transportation goals, remains a point of discussion in the community. Had you been on council at the time, would you have voted in favor of the Sherman Road bike lane project? Yes or no? Please stand up. Thank you kindly. That concludes our yes or no questions for infrastructure, and also concludes our topics. So now we will move into the mock council meeting. So ladies and gentlemen, as we transition into the next section of tonight's all candidates meeting, we're about to dive into a mock council session. This segment is designed to put our candidates' decision-making skills to the test, drawing on scenarios that mirror real challenges our community has faced. Many of these situations have already occurred, so this is a chance to see how each candidate would navigate the tough choices ahead. Let's get started. So the first point, when the new official community plan, the OCP, was adopted, it came with a major shift, the introduction of the Urban Containment Boundary, UCB. The new boundary redefined where development could take place in North Cowichan. Shortly after, a motion came forward to allow a 24-month grace period, an amnesty, for developments already in process that were suddenly rendered non-compliant. The motion was defeated 4-3. Now, a few years later, the province has flagged North Cowichan for not building enough housing. Meanwhile, dense apartment complexes have soared in areas like Berkey's Corner, while many residents have voiced a preference for single-family homes, of which almost none have been built in recent years. So the question, which will be another yes or no, would you have supported the 24-month amnesty to allow previously viable housing projects to proceed? Please stand up, yes or no? Absolutely. Would you have supported the 24-month amnesty to allow previously viable housing projects to proceed? I'll give it another couple seconds. You stay standing up. The answer, please. Okay, thank you for your answers. No, sir. This is a yes or no question for the mock council.
I find it highly inappropriate to have yes or no questions to second guess decisions that have already been made by council.
This is why we'll give you time at the end to conclude. Please hold your applause. You voluntarily accepted to volunteer or to participate in this forum today, this afternoon. So this is the format that I was given by the people, and this is the format that I will follow. The rules are, please hold your applauses, and it's the yes or no form, and you'll be given 2 to 3 minutes to conclude. With you can follow up with your why you answer or why you don't agree with it. So moving on to the second question. This was not an industrial scale harvesting prior to the vote. The municipality logged less than 1% of the forest annually, which was enough to fully fund the forest upkeep, including road maintenance, fire mitigation, and trail access. By halting even this low-impact logging, the cost of maintaining the NFR now fall entirely on taxpayers, while revenue from carbon credits remains speculative. Notably, several local forestry unions opposed the logging ban, citing job losses and what they viewed as unnecessarily abandonment of a model that was both sustainable and self-sufficient. Supporters of the Hulk frame, it was a bold environmental move. Critics, including many in the labor community, saw it as greenwashing that punished working people and ignored the on-ground realities. The question, would you have supported the motion to stop logging in the Municipal Forestry Reserve despite union opposition and the loss of self-funding models? If you wish to participate, sorry. It's a yes or no. If the candidates wish to follow up afterwards, they may do so. This is not you. There have been many municipal events where there's yes or no's, and I participate in them as well. So again, if you wish to participate in this question, I'll say it one more time. Would you have supported the motion to stop logging in the Municipal Forestry Reserve despite the union opposition and the loss of self-funding model? Yes or no, please stand up. Thank you, Janet. I will just add one more thing. I understand I'm the moderator and I will remain neutral. But we are selecting our candidates who will be in a municipal council, and they are going to have to make a decision. We need to see this. So if they don't like the question, I respect that, but we need to see that. Okay, even if it's a loaded question. So moving on to the next question. In 2023, North Cowichan Council voted to implement Step Code 4, nearly 7 years before it was required by the province. This effectively eliminated the use of natural gas in new home construction, since Forest BC stated they would no longer install gas lines unless gas was the primary heat source. The vote came with no consultation from local builders, contractors, or housing professionals, despite their expertise and stake in the industry. Council heard from a delegation supporting the acceleration who cited health risks linked to gas stoves. However, the data referenced came from studies conducted outside of Canada, with no direct relevance to local conditions. Some community members expressed concern that these presentations reflected a growing trend of important activist talking points, often lacking local context, but still used to drive sweeping policy changes. Opposition to the move was strong from residents and industry voices alike, who argued it would increase building costs and restrict energy choice at a time when housing affordability was already a crisis. So moving into the question, would you have supported the early implementation of STEP Code 4, despite no consultation with local trades, no locally relevant data supporting the change? Yes or no, please stand up. Thank you, candidates. Okay, question number 4. As part of the regional discussions on respectful spaces, one CBRD director recently proposed shifting public participation to email only, removing live input from meetings. It raised concerns about transparency and accountability. If elected to North Cowichan Council, your decisions may also impact the broader Cowichan Valley Regional District through shared governance roles. Some believe these changes are necessary to protect staff and council from escalated interactions. Others see it as an erosion of democratic engagement. The question, would you vote in favor of limiting or removing live public input at council meetings? Or oppose it in favor of keeping it in-person engagement, yes or no? So again, one more time, the question, would you vote in favor of limiting or removing live public at council? No meaning you would remove it. Or sorry, yes meaning you would remove it. No meaning you would not remove it. You would stand by the democratic engagement. Great, thank you so much. Okay, moving on to our last question. A local resident donates land to a non-profit organization aiming to support equity-seeking individuals in the Cowichan Valley. The organization wants to build a community support facility. However, the land ties outside the UCB, the urban containment boundary, and current zoning does not permit the facility type. Staff recommend rejecting the application to preserve the integrity of the UCB and the OCP. Council is being asked to vote on whether to grant an exception. Question, would you vote to uphold the UCB or support an exception for the project, knowing the community benefit it may provide? Yes or no, please stand up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So question, or would you like me to do the full thing? Question, would you vote to uphold the UCB, the urban containment boundary, or support an exception for the project, knowing the community benefit it may provide?
Yes or no question.
So would you support the exceptions to use, allowing the project to, the exemption to UCB?
What's the project?
I'll say the question one more time. A local resident donates land to a non-profit organization aiming to support equity-seeking individuals in the Cowichan Valley. That's the project. The organization wants to build a community support facility. However, the land lies outside of the urban containment boundary, and current zoning does not permit this facility type. Staff recommend rejecting the application to preserve the integrity of the UCB and the OCP. Council is being asked to vote on whether to grant an exception. Would you vote to uphold the UCB or support an exception for the project, knowing the community benefit it may provide? Yes or no?
I think the problem is that it's unclear which option is yes and which option is no.
Exactly.
Okay, so the yes is you would allow the project to move forward even if it's outside the urban containment boundary? Yes. So yes or no? Awesome. So we're going to move into the final question now. Let's see what else the Berkey's residents have to say. A local business association representing multiple small businesses has approached council with a plea. Rising lease rates, tough competition from big box stores and online platforms, and limited access to affordable advertising are putting local businesses under serious pressure. They're not asking for handouts, but they are asking for concrete action from council to level the playing field and support long-term viability. So each applicant will have 1 minute to respond. Question: as a councillor, what specific action or actions would you propose to support local businesses, whether it's improved visibility, tax relief, zoning flexibility, municipal promotion, or something else? And just as importantly, how would you pay for it? Would you reallocate funds from an existing program, propose a new business levy, cut from somewhere else, or seek grant funding? This is your chance to show how you balance vision fiscally responsibly. Okay, we'll go in the same order. Ms. Kembler, 1 minute.
We would always want to help small and local businesses in North Cowichan. The businesses in North Cowichan support us, and we need to support them. A few years ago, there was that 10% shift, and it was a great program. People wore their shift 10% by shopping here. It needs to be more than 10%. I think some things that would make things easier would be like, cutting the red tape, letting them make some decisions a little more openly, offering small grants, encouraging people to shop local. Definitely would think we could put a campaign on about that, because these businesses really are part of our community. I would also plan to meet with the Chambers of Commerce and in all our communities and the business people and sit down and have a good chat. What on earth is it we could do to make this work better for you? And then work to implement some of those decisions. To help pay for it, we could adjust parts of the budget that is already there for economic development. We could work with business groups and the province to bring in extra funding, raise grants, incentives. We just need to support local jobs and support local businesses. And I will do my best.
Thank you, Ms. Kembler. We'll move on to Mr. Billis.
Thank you, sir. And full disclosure, I didn't see that question, so I'm not really prepared to answer it, but off the top of my head, we certainly need to speed up the application process for new businesses. And coincidentally, I should observe that what I've seen popping up like mushrooms in terms of new business are vape shops and cannabis stores. They seem to be extremely profitable, and they don't have a problem staying open. I totally support shopping local, especially with what's going on south of the border these days. And I think we can all help our small businesses. They are the backbone of our community, and they are the backbone of this country. It's not big box stores or large industry. So, yes, a lot of ideas, but we need to support, we need to shop local. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Mr. Farmier.
Thank you for the question. So why is the business failing? That's the first question I would ask. One thing I would look at doing is making a workshop program for struggling businesses. The purpose of the workshop would first look at what are the strengths and weaknesses of the business, and put a question before the business owners. What are we doing differently from our competition? What can we do that's going to make us stand out as a business? The other thing that these workshops should look at is who is our target audience? Because sometimes businesses fail because they don't really understand who their target audience is. So if we can help them figure out who their target audience is and what to do different from their competition to stand out from their competition, that can help make a business successful. So I would look at getting provincial grant funding to put on workshops for businesses. And in addition to putting on workshops for businesses, I would also look at getting resources and tools to help connect them, because there's lots of grants available to help businesses. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Berkey. Move on to Ms. Lord now, please.
strongly support local business, but this question is too vague. And I want to make a point about all the yes/no questions that we just had that were all voted. As an elected municipal councillor sworn to uphold and apply the law fairly at all public hearings, I would respect and comply with my solemn duty to consider all the facts, public testimony, staff advice, and governing law in making decisions on every matter that comes before us. Therefore, I do not think it was appropriate to second guess any of the decisions already made by council in the past without first reviewing the full record for all of them. Because I do not have that full record, I was not able to answer many of those yes or no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. That will move on to Ms. Hall.
I don't personally think municipalities should be held financially responsible for any small business, but what they can do is be supportive. And first of all, number one is cleaning up the streets, and the disorder would help a lot of businesses. We could bolster tourism, speeding up some permits, and maybe looking at if we need to do any rezoning to bring in any other kind of business. But financially, no, we shouldn't be supporting financially, but there is ways to help small businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Awesome. Well, that concludes all the topics and questions. I have here from the organizers 2 minutes for closing addresses. I'm going to increase that to 4 minutes, just in case any candidate wants to expand on the yes or no and make that fair. Like I said, we have seen yes or no at other all candidate forums before, so let's give them extra time to expand and explain either yes or their no. So instead of 2 minutes, let's go with 4 minutes. And Ms. Kembler, you're up first.
Thank you for the extra time. I appreciate it. First of all, the bike lanes on Sherman Road, it wasn't a vote to approve them. It was a vote to apply for a grant. And if the grant was approved, then a few years down the road, the bike lanes would be discussed and go to the approval process. So I would have voted yes to applying for the grant. Secondly, as for the not votes and the yes and no answers, the same as what Ms. Lord said, we don't have the information that the councilors had. We have the information we can find. We can watch the old meetings. We can read the agenda. We can read the staff notes. We don't have the personal emails. We don't have the phone calls. We don't have what they had when they made those decisions. I really don't think that is democratic question or a democratic way to figure out who we are. Many of tonight's questions require more than just one-word answers to the question. I encourage you to go to my website. There you will find the explanations on all the positions on these topics. I researched the topics as best as I could from the agenda to come up with my yes or no answers. So you will see what my thoughts and process thinking was there. When we take the time to understand the reasoning behind decisions, it brings people together rather than dividing them. I felt this was very divisive. Thank you for your time and listening tonight. I have no political affiliation or tie with any existing councillors. This allows me to form my own perspectives and vote based on personal convictions and what the community wants. This independence means I can represent the diverse voices of our residents without any external influence, ensuring that every decision is made for the benefit of North Cowichan. I am here to learn, listen, and work alongside you. I truly want to create an inclusive community where we all thrive. Your voice truly matters, and I encourage you to contact me. Together, we can build a future we can be proud of. As we move toward the upcoming election, I ask for your support. I am committed to using my experience and political savvy to navigate the challenges we face, always with the goal of creating meaningful, lasting change for our community. In everything I do, I will prioritize collaboration, respect, and compassion. I'm not here just to speak for you. I'm here to listen, understand, and work alongside you. Please remember to vote for me on April 12th, Joanne Campbell.
very difficult and artificial. Yes, no. And I won't go over that again, but I totally agree with what was said. If elected, I would advocate for addressing our looming, our existing tax crisis as my top priority. One gentleman at the last meeting in Sherman talked about possibly losing his property. He had another $8,000 tax bill to face. It's a reality that is growing for lots of people out there. How am I going to pay my taxes next year if they are going to be another 8%? I wanted to talk to that gentleman after the meeting and say to him, you're in your 70s, you could defer your taxes. I didn't. I wish I had. But for anybody over 55, it is an option. So I want you to think about that for a second. With these increasing taxes, what happens if, quick show of hands, over 55? What happens if that significant portion of the population says, I'm not going to pay my taxes anymore, I'm going to defer them? We would be in a financial ruin. And it's, I think more and more people are doing that. I think they're deferring their taxes. Peter's shaking his head, but I think they are. Yes.
Let's,
the province gets their
other responsibilities, thank you.
Again, we need to look at other solutions, and again, we need to tap into the power of you out there for creative solutions with town hall meetings. To reiterate, we need people off the streets now, if not for humanitarian reasons, then for financial ones. The costs for emergency call-out, policing, bylaws, officers, incarceration, 44 stays, etc., are enormous and they're growing daily. When I was at the adult center initially, there was one visible homeless person in this community. His name was Redbeard. Some of you may remember him. All the kids, used him as a bootlegger, but he didn't have addiction problems. It was just a lifestyle choice. Well, that one visible person is now, depending on your sources, from 200 to 400 homeless people out there. Whether you are for it or against it, it cannot be argued that the existence of the safe injection site has changed our community drastically. We cannot afford any more Band-Aid solutions that maintain the status quo. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's time for action in the form of a permanent, secure shelter. If you want a middle-of-the-road candidate, you can listen to both sides of an argument objectively, who is an advocate for fiscal responsibility and who will act with social conscience, then on April 12th, vote for me, David Phelps. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me here. And if elected, the most important thing to me is upholding the OCP and the objectives of the OCP, because the OCP is something that the community has worked hard on over the last few years, and a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of hours have gone into planning it. So that's the most important thing. Next, for me, is the drug addictions and homeless problem in the community. So in order to fix it, we need to identify why it's happening and how we can help the people, and identify the tools that they need in order to help them. So therefore, we need people out there connecting with them in the community. And that's why I would support a mobile outreach program to have people out there connecting with them to see what they need and to see what tools we can give them. And therefore, the mobile outreach program is just a start, and handing out Knox-Saline kits is going to help prevent overdoses as well at the same time. Also important in all of this is the issue of housing. We need more temporary housing, and to do that, there's a lot of buildings sitting dormant in the community that we could already use to help solve the problem. In Victoria, the city purchased a lot of old hotels, from hotel owners and repurpose them into low-income housing for people. That's something I'd like to also see here in North Cowichan. The reuse of buildings that are already here, because we have a lot of buildings that are sitting that can be used. Another thing was the Sherman bike lane proposal question. With that question, the reason that council didn't vote to put that to go for that grant was because council would have had to have paid 60% of or 40% of the cost, basically, because the grant was only going to cover 60% of the cost. So what I would do is I would reach out to the province to see if we could get the province to cover 20% of the cost, and then see if we can put a motion before council again to put the to reapply for the bike lane grant funding. If the province is willing to put up 20%, then we would only have to put up 20% in that scenario. Thank you for listening to everything I had to say here today. If elected, I will have an open door approach, so any of you will be able to reach out to me at any time. I believe in open town hall meetings as well, where I can connect with all of you. That's something that I would like to encourage between council and the community as well. More connectedness. So if you're looking for someone who will be for connectedness, helping with the homeless problem, and helping implement the OCP, vote Farmier on April 12th. Thank you.
So I just wanted to add a little bit more information to two of the yes/no questions. And one was on the municipal forest reserve. And there has been extensive public review and comment overwhelmingly in support of using the reserve for public recreation, wildlife habitat, and protection of watershed integrity, as well as forest health. And secondly, the problem with allowing exceptions to the OCP is that they threaten to swallow the rule. The OCP is an excellent plan for our future that was carefully based on extensive public participation and expert advice over a 3-year period. I have seen no evidence otherwise. My name is Joanna Lord. The first rule of governance is to make our quality of life better, not worse. The work I've done throughout my career, combined with the volunteer boards I've sat on, including Literacy Cowichan, the Columbia Institute, Parkside Society, and North Cowichan Sports Wall of Fame Committee, shows my commitment to giving back, being involved in community, and advocating for the betterment of all. I am committed to ensuring North Cowichan stays a vibrant and inclusive community, as outlined in the official community plan. I have been knocking doors, meeting with and calling residents all over North Cowichan. I have been attending council meetings and paying attention to politics at all levels. I've been doing my homework to hit the ground running to work for all of you. I believe we're at a fork in the road. Decisions made by our council will impact generations to come. Some would favor building helter-skelter, wherever a land speculator or a developer can purchase land cheaply and build, like in areas zoned as rural, beyond the urban containment boundary. Trees will be cut down. More roads, sewers, water treatment, and pipelines will need to be built. And in return, taxpayers now and in the future will be saddled with higher taxes, clogged roads, and a loss of rural character. Or we can make decisions that do not rubber stamp the developer's dream. We would infill within the limits of the existing infrastructure, absorbing housing demand while preserving our rural quality of life, our farms, and conserving our environment. This is why I am running. If elected, I promise to undertake a series of listening tours and coffee meet and greets so that I can hear directly from all of you and all the residents of North Cowichan, so that I can do my absolute best to represent you with commitment, integrity, responsibility, and heart. For more information, please visit my website, joannalord.ca. And on April 12th, vote for me. Thank you.
And then we'll finish off the conclusions with this talk.
As a business owner, I will bring practical hands-on experience that directly benefits council and community. I'll fight to cut red tape, and I'll use my creativity to find ways to keep taxes manageable while also holding fiscal responsibility. I will advocate for mandatory treatment. What is happening is not working. More wet housing does not fix the addiction. We need treatment, dry housing, and support. Our current bylaws need to be strengthened. Where I see us lacking is when our youth are aging out of foster care. They have nowhere to go. That's where I think we should also focus on for housing, is helping these youths get into affordable housing so they can move on with their lives and not end up on the streets. I'm ready and willing to work for you and tackle the hard challenges we face and will face. I have an open mind and I make the best choices and for the better of our community. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending today. We're now going to move into some open floor questions. Now, I did have some special instructions. I have been asked to prioritize the residents of Berkey's Corner to make sure the voices are being heard. So if there are people in attendance from Berkey's Corner who would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. We have one in the back. I will keep your hands up. I'll come with the mic here. Don't just maybe state your name and where you're from.
So if you 3271 the line place right behind us. So there's a lot of difficult questions, but as a counselor, you're going to have to answer those questions, and you always have to answer them. My question is, for the OPS, the overdose prevention site, would you support voting to close it to protect our children and help the residents of the neighborhood living in fear every day, even if there was no other place for it to go?
Thank you for your question. Just see if the microphone's off, I'll just hand it down. And we'll switch up the order, actually. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. The toxic drug crisis has taken far too many lives, and it's important that we provide services for people struggling with addictions. And we know that overdose prevention saves lives. There's data to support that. However, I don't believe that the current facility on York Road is in the right location. It is too close to our schools. Plus, having the facility across the road from the Warmland shelter concentrates too many services in a small area. So as a counselor, I would advocate to Island Health to find an alternative location for this service.
Okay, we'll pass it down so that everyone has a fair opportunity to answer. I started off with 2 minutes, so I'll finish this question off in 2 minutes, but just for the purpose of timing as well, since we do need to be out here about 10 to 15 minutes, I'll reduce the next question down to 1 minute answer. Okay, so we'll Ms. Hogman, ready 2 minutes?
This is it's not a difficult question to answer, but I have spoken with many people. And I've talked to somebody who owns a rehab facility. I went to the RCMP meeting, town hall meeting, and with all my research, I don't think that our community can withstand this. We're too small, and it has brought in a lot of people here. People come because we have the services, and if we didn't have these services, they wouldn't be coming to our town. I want to support who we have, not people coming from out of town.
Thank you for the questions. These services are very important to have, but I also understand location is very important at the same time, because we don't want them close to schools where children are, and we don't want them too close to businesses as well at the same time. There are a lot of the spots available that we can look into that are maybe not too remote, but a little bit more out of these areas. So what we should do is, as council, we should do a study, if elected, I'd like to do a study on what areas would be a good place to move these resources to, and then put a motion before council to actually investigate this one.
Thank you for a very difficult question. It's, I'm not sure how the decision was made to put the safe injection site where it is right now. I don't know. It was a bonehead move. It's in probably the worst possible place it could be. I'm not against a safe injection site. It does save lives, absolutely. And I'm all for people having their drugs tested before they shoot up and do it under supervision. I'm not in favor of drugs being handed out at safe injection sites. I don't think that's the job of the government to throw drugs at a drug problem. So I would definitely look for an alternative site. I think it is needed, but not where it is now. It's just the worst. Thank you.
There are many misconceptions about an overdose prevention site. I agree, it's in a terrible location. I was a school trustee when it was put there, and there was no collaboration or conversation. It was just put there by an account. I would support moving it, absolutely. Support getting rid of it altogether, no. In the OPS, there's a SUIT team, which is a substance use integrative team that works with our at-risk people. And then there's an ACT team, a assertive community team that works with those that are addicted and have mental illness. There's doctors and nurses on site to help with their health, direct them to wound care, direct them to where they have to be. Yes, it's in a terrible place. When we can keep someone alive, there's still people accessing our OPS, or somebody's children, somebody's husband, somebody's aunt. And we need to at least have an opportunity to keep people alive long enough for them to get there.
Thanks, Matt. I did see a question on this side. Is Benson? And it's sorry, have you stand up just when you're responsive, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Charles, and for all you're doing, and thank you for all being here today and stepping forward. My question today is, would you, as a counselor, support a review of the employees, the staff at the municipality for Cowichan? Reason being is there's all kinds of new titles they've hired. A senior environmental specialist for over 100,000, a climate change specialist for over 100,000. This is just in the past few years. And that it seems like many of the, all of this, many of the managers, many of them seem to have assistant managers. So I don't know if they're having trouble doing their job or everybody needs a sidekick. But I'm saying the number of employees has expanded, and we all know how government grows and not much else tends to. So would you support a review of the employees at North Cowichan? They just hired a new engineer of transportation. Anyway, so that's a very real question as far as tax increases. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
And again, we'll go with 1 minute responses just so we can maximize questions.
Thank you for the question, Joyce. I would assume that there already is some kind of a regular review process for these positions. So I would support what is likely already happening, but I don't have enough information on that to answer any more than that.
Oh, you ready?
I would support the reviews, as this does directly affect every one of us in our tax dollars, if that's the case. But it does need to go for review.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I would absolutely support a review of these positions. And the question is, are they all needed? Most likely the answer is yes, they are all needed. I don't have enough information on that part. But at the same time, the salaries, we should look at the salaries in relation to our overall budget and see maybe if there's room to cut them down from what they are a little bit at least. Thank you.
Sorry, Joyce, I do not have enough information to offer an informed opinion about that question, so I'm going to abstain.
Having been a business owner as well for many, many years, something that I'm not sure is done often enough in business, and I have no idea when it was done last municipality, it could be done last week, for all I know, is to conduct a review of their business operation and procedures. You can audit your organizational procedures and workflows, and you can sometimes find inefficiencies and ways to do things that would be more efficient, as in it seems it takes a long time to get approvals for things. And also at that time, you would be reevaluating your positions and what is needed and if they need to be reorganized. So I would just ask that question, when was and what of that done?
Any more residents of Berkey's Corner? I just want to make sure.
Thank you, Adriana, I live on Fairview Way. And I went through your social medias, well, not yours, Mr. Bellis, but everyone else's last night. And I appreciated Joanne saying that she wasn't affiliated with anyone strongly, therefore being a little bit more open to other people. There's some that are completely radical, and I don't, for instance, Joanne, who has helped run.
What's the question?
You could. One second. So run all the NDP campaigns around here. I don't see how, and also being affiliated with people that call a lot of the other constituents here bigots, racists, and Nazis. I'm wondering if any of you else are affiliated as deeply with unions or parties, because I don't feel that a lot of us will be represented by certain people here. Thank you.
Every candidate understand the question.
What's the question?
The question was. Yep, I'll repeat the question. That was a good question. It was a question. So the question was, do you have any deep affiliation with unions, parties, or other organizations that could have ideological ties? Summing it up. So basically unions and parties. I'll start, somebody want to start this off? We'll go to the same word. Yeah.
I like being first, I guess. As I've already stated, I have no ties. I am able to be independent and will choose to be so.
I think I have also made my position clear. I'm a middle of the road centrist. I'm not affiliated with any faction or party, and I opened up myself that way.
Thank you for the question. Locally, I'm not affiliated with a local party or a provincial party. I am a member of the People's Party of Canada, but I am looking at resigning from that, actually, especially if elected here. I don't want any conflicts in any way. So I had my name forward as a placeholder for the federal election, but my interest is here in North Cowichan and working as your councillor. Thank you.
I have no ties to any unions or any party. I have voted in many different ways. The way I vote is I see our problems and I look at their platforms, and that's how I make a decision on voting. I've never voted the same time or the same party.
My principles and values align with social democrats I have not run NDP campaigns since 2004 when Jean Crowder was first elected. I have volunteered many, many hours as a volunteer on campaigns. Also, it's common for mayors and councilors to support political parties at the provincial and federal level. Just look at North Cowichan Council and the way folks are on it currently. And at the same time, I believe that members on council will always look at each piece, I don't want to say side, because at the end of the day, I believe that we all want the same thing. We all want to have a good life for everyone, to live in an equitable way. And so I will be looking at all sides of each story in order to make informed decisions, looking for solutions.
Okay, we're at 3:50. Any more Berkey's Corner residents? I'll make sure the Berkey's Corner residents are heard, because this is the forum for you guys. No? Okay, I will finish it off with Peter, because I know you had a question. So I'll let you have the last question. Let's make it quick and break the point for answer.
Thanks, Charles. It's a yes or no question, and through you, use your powers. If elected, will you work with Economic Development Cowichan and also North Cowichan Economic Development Committee to demand results-based growth? That means at the end of the year, listing all the businesses you brought here to increase our tax base, more ducks into the pen rather than plucking the same ducks. So yes or no, will you work with council and demand results-based naming of businesses at the end of each year as to what businesses you think to help our economy? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to adjust your question just a little bit. You can have the option to say yes or no, but I will pass the mic around. This is an open forum question, so you can just say yes or no, but you'll have 1 minute to expand on your question just for fairness.
So, sorry, was the crux, would we work with Economic Development Cowichan?
Economic Development Cowichan and our EDC that's at North Cowichan. There's two. We need the results.
So you can either say yes or no, or you can expand on your answer because you have 1 minute to answer.
One more question. What are we demanding from these people?
We're demanding at the end of the year to report to the public how many businesses and which ones you were able to successfully bring to North Cow to get tax revenue from these businesses and jobs, of course.
That was a loaded question, Peter.
Oh my God!
Don't you know what that means? I would definitely work with both those committees and help encourage it, and I wouldn't be demanding no such thing, but I would request a report.
Yes, I would support this, and to expand on that, I want to reach out to the community to see what kinds of local businesses that we can bring in, and also I would like to talk to council and see if we can put forward a motion to do a tax cut just for new businesses coming in their first year to entice people who want to come to North Cowichan to bring their business here. And yes, I would report on any business I brought forward at the end of the year. Thank you.
Yes, I would absolutely do that. That's what we need here. We need economic development, and we need to be held to that. And to that, I answer yes.
Yes, I would work with both Economic Development Cowichan and any committee that is working on economic development. Also, strongly supporting buying Canadian goods and services and promoting Buy Cowichan.
Awesome. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your Saturdays. Enjoy your afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your Saturday. Enjoy the weekend, and I think the candidates might be sticking around outside.